In the misty folds of the South Indian hills lives a people who have reimagined the very foundations of family relationships. Here, among high-altitude pastures and sacred buffalo, traditional notions of marriage dissolve like the morning mist on the mountain slopes. The Toda people are not just a tribe, but a living laboratory of human relationships, where unique social adaptations have been formed over centuries. Their story is a narrative of how geographical conditions, economic needs, and cultural values intertwine into a single system of survival. The high-altitude architects of family relationships. The Toda inhabit the Nilgiri Hills in the state of Tamil Nadu at an altitude of over 6,000 feet above sea level. Their world is a space of constant fog, cool climate, and limited resources. In such conditions, every decision becomes a matter of survival for the entire community. Their numbers have never exceeded 1,000 people. According to the population census, in 1871, 693 people. In 1951, 879. In 1971, 812. The small population here is not accidental, but a strategy. In conditions of limited pastures and a harsh climate, a large population would mean starvation for all. But what happens when a small community faces the need to preserve genetic diversity, ensure economic stability, and not destroy family unity? The Toda people found an amazing solution: brotherly unity, when family becomes a strategy. In traditional Toda society, fraternal polyandry was practiced, a system of marital relations in which one woman became the wife of all the brothers in the family at the same time. This was not a random tradition or an exotic custom. It was a well-thought-out social technology that responded to the challenges of high-altitude life. Polyandry solved the problem radically. Family wealth remained indivisible, and labor resources were combined. Several men could more effectively graze herds, protect territory, and provide for the family. The woman received not one protector, but a whole team. The recognition ritual: bow, arrow, and the secret of fatherhood. How was paternity determined in polyandrous families? The Toda developed an elegant ceremonial system that turned biological uncertainty into social certainty. When a woman became pregnant, one of the husbands, usually the one considered most suitable at the time, would go into the forest. There, he would make a bow and arrow from young tree shoots with his own hands. These items became a symbol of recognition. In a solemn setting, in the presence of the entire community, the husband presented the bow and arrow to the pregnant woman. If she accepted them, it meant official recognition. The child she was carrying was considered his descendant, regardless of biological paternity. The ceremony was performed in the 7th month of pregnancy, on the eve of the full moon. The community gathered in traditional attire. Ancient songs were sung, and ritual dances were performed. It was not just a family holiday, but a public affirmation of a new member of the tribe. Sacred buffalo and the economy of trust. To understand the depth of polyandrous relationships among the Toda, it is necessary to understand their economic basis. The entire life of the tribe was built around the cultivation of a special breed of mountain buffalo, short-hooved and unusually hardy animals. These buffalo were not just livestock. In the Toda religious system, they were considered sacred creatures, a link between the world of people and the world of gods. Dairy products obtained from these animals formed the basis of trade with neighboring tribes, the Badaga, Koda, and Kurumba. Sacred dairy farms, alwars, functioned as temples. Priests' milkmen worked here, strictly following ritual prescriptions. Every action, from milking to making butter, was accompanied by a religious ceremony. In such a system, family unity became an economic necessity. Dividing the herd between brothers would mean not only a loss of wealth, but also a violation of sacred traditions. Polyandry preserved the integrity of the material and spiritual heritage. In Toda polyandrous families, a woman occupied a unique position sharply different from traditional patriarchal structures. She was the central figure in the family system. Her role went beyond domestic duties. The Toda woman is a skilled embroidery craftswoman whose art brought the family additional income from trade with tourists and neighboring tribes. Her works, made with red and black threads on cotton fabric, were considered works of art. In matters of childbirth, the Toda woman had significant autonomy and participated in choosing the husband who was officially recognized as the father of the child. Her consent to the bow and arrow ceremony was not a formality, but a real voice. Moreover, Toda women played an important role in the economic life of the family. They traded dairy products, engaged in crafts, and participated in making major family decisions. Their opinion was taken into account in the management of the herd and the distribution of resources. The architecture of the mountain house, where the polyandrous family lives. The physical space of Toda families was organized taking into account their unique social structure. Traditional dwellings, dogels, are structures that outwardly resemble halves of giant barrels. These huts were built 18 feet long, 9 feet wide, and 10 feet high. The oval shape and low entrance, only 3 by 3 feet, through which one had to crawl, served as protection from wild animals and the harsh mountain wind. The interior was designed to comfortably accommodate several adult men, a woman, and children. Each family member had their own space, but shared areas fostered unity. A stone fence was built around the dogli, creating a family courtyard. Most of daily life took place here. Women did crafts, men repaired tools, and children played under the supervision of all the adults. Raising children in a collective. Multiple fatherhood was one of the most interesting aspects of polyandry among the Toda, was raising children. A child born into such a family was considered the descendant of all the brothers simultaneously, regardless of biological paternity. This created a unique system of collective parenting. Each husband had equal responsibility for the child's upbringing, education, and protection. Children received not just one mentor, but an entire team, each of whom passed on their knowledge and skills. This approach offered huge advantages for development. If one of the fathers was sick or absent, the others continued to care for the child. Children received diverse knowledge. One might be an expert in working with buffalo, another in crafts, and a third in trade. Upbringing was practical. From an early age, children participated in family life, helped herd buffalo, learned to milk, and mastered the basics of crafts. By adolescence, they were already full participants in the family's economic life. Social hierarchy and moral boundaries. Toda society was not egalitarian. It was divided into two main groups, moieties, Tartarol and Tevailol. Members of Tartarol considered themselves the higher caste, engaged in sacred buffalo and ulvers, while Tevailol acted as shepherds and helpers. Polyandrous marriages were strictly within each moiety. This maintained the social structure and prevented conflicts between groups. Intercaste marriages were extremely rare. Despite polyandry, Toda society had strict moral boundaries. Adultery outside of recognized family relationships was strongly condemned. A woman could have several husbands at the same time, but only within the framework of an officially recognized family. Divorce was rare. It complicated the division of property and the determination of child custody. Social pressure helped maintain the stability of the marriage. Religious foundations of family relationships. Polyandry among the Toda was not only a social practice, but also part of their religious system. Their pantheon included between 1,600 and 1,800 deities, many of whom were associated with family and reproductive functions. The main deities, the goddess Tokushi and the god of the underworld, On, were considered patrons of family relationships. According to mythology, On created the first people of the tribe, pulling them out of the earth along with the buffalo. Each clan had its own Nodrochi, a ruling deity who watched over the observance of traditional family foundations. Polyandrous marriages were sanctified in the name of these deities, which gave them religious legitimacy. Rituals related to milk production also included elements dedicated to family relationships. Milk priests prayed not only for the well-being of the herds, but also for harmony in the family. End of an era. Transformations under the influence of modernization. By the end of the 20th century, polyandry among the Toda had practically disappeared. This happened for a number of reasons: the influence of the British colonial administration, the spread of Christianity, economic changes, and contact with the outside world. The British authorities actively fought against polyandry, considering it a barbaric custom. Christian missionaries asserted monogamy as the only acceptable form of marriage. The economy also changed. With the development of market relations, individual property turned out to be more profitable than collective property. Young people began to look for work outside the pastures, destroying the foundations of family unity. Education brought new ideas about individual rights and freedom of choice. Young Toda women began to prefer monogamous marriages, considering them more modern and progressive. Anthropological lessons from a mountain tribe. Analyzing polyandry among the Toda provides unique knowledge for social anthropology and evolutionary psychology. Their experience shows how environmental conditions shape unusual marriage systems. Research proves that polyandry develops when resources are limited and collective survival is necessary. In the case of the Toda, these were the mountain climate, sparse pastures, and a small population. The system of multiple paternity among the Toda refutes some Western ideas about the naturalness of monogamy. Children in polyandrous families developed no worse, and sometimes better, than in monogamous ones, receiving more attention and diverse skills. The position of women was more autonomous than in many traditional societies. They had real power in family decisions and economic independence. Global context. Polyandry in a global perspective. The Toda are not the only people who practiced polyandry. Similar systems existed among Tibetans, Sherpas of Nepal, and some groups of Inuit. A comparative analysis shows the common reasons for the flourishing of such relationships. In all cases, polyandry appeared in harsh environmental conditions: mountains, the Arctic, deserts. Limited resources and the need for collective survival were the main factors. In all such societies, women usually occupied a relatively high position. This is due to their key role in reproduction and maintaining family ties. Modern genetic studies confirm that polyandry helped maintain genetic diversity in small populations and prevented the negative consequences of inbreeding. Legacy of Highland innovators. Today, traditional polyandry among the Toda has completely disappeared, but its legacy remains an important part of the tribe's cultural memory. Many families retain collectivist traditions, albeit in monogamous marriages. The women of the Toda community continue to play an active role in the family's economic life. Their embroidery has received geographical indication status, which protects the uniqueness of their products and guarantees a fair price. The community is striving to preserve other elements of its traditional culture. From 1995 to 2005, 40 traditional Dogli huts were built to maintain a connection with their ancestors. The younger generation, having received a modern education, is reinterpreting the heritage of their ancestors. They see polyandry not as a backward practice, but as an innovative approach to solving social issues. Lessons for modern times. The history of polyandry among the Toda offers important lessons for understanding human relationships and social adaptation. It proves that there are no universal or natural forms of marriage. Everything is determined by the conditions of life. The Toda experience shows the importance of collective decision-making in the family. In conditions of limited resources, individual interests take a back seat to the common good. The Toda system of multiple parenthood can be an inspiration for modern discussions about extended families, co-parenting, and alternative models of parenthood. Finally, the story of the Toda reminds us of the value of cultural diversity and the need to carefully preserve unique social practices, even if they seem unusual from the perspective of the majority. In the Nilgiri Mountains, where thick fog envelops the ancient pastures in the mornings, the echo of polyandrous traditions still sounds in the wind. The Toda have created not just an alternative family system, they have embodied a model of human adaptation that continues to inspire researchers and raise questions about love, family, and survival.